I'm calling this piece of wood I don't know. And it's not that I don't know what type of wood it is. This is a piece of apple. It came from my sister-in-law's house, and they had that cut down about 3 years ago, and I got some of it, and this is one of the pieces. What I don't know is what it's going to look like after we turn it. It has a very strange growth on here, and I would really like to keep some of that. So we're going to make a natural edge out of it. I'll put a flat spot right here and drill a hole for a worm screw. We'll get it mounted up, and maybe we can find out what it looks like. I'll be right back. Alright, I've got it mounted up on a worm screw, and I've got my tailstock against it. I didn't cut any corners off because I really don't know what we're going to end up with, so maybe I'll want some of that up here. I'm going to start out, I think we're doing about 400, yeah, not too fast, 413 RPM, 5/8 bowl gouge. This section here is pretty bouncy. It was not only hard to do, it's kind of hard to watch. So I cut a bit of that out. As it turns out, I probably should have cut the corners off. We're up to 550 RPM now. See what we can get for RPM now. It's getting a big difference. 730. I think I'll keep going. I can get rid of that flat spot and still have half of that growth. And then we have this, which is very interesting. Alright, I'm going to work from here up to that edge and see. Got some somewhat punky wood there. See if it cleans up or not. But that's really nice. I'll tell you, I have been looking forward to turning this piece. Okay, I'm going to work on the bottom now. That's pretty good size, and I need to flatten it out. Maybe I'll take about 3/4 more off of the diameter of that base. Yeah, I think I like that. With that little kind of a rounded bottom and going into a gentler curve up here. So now I need to flatten it up, and it looks like I got some seriously bad wood there. Get this bottom flat, and then we'll work on a tenon. Got to check this wood, see if it's gonna hold up. Yeah, it's just a small area. Well, that's I'm liking that, but I think I want to roll that top edge over. Take care of this first. Well, that was almost just right for the tin in there. Switch to a 1/2 inch. Okay, we'll use this diamond point to square that up. Just about ready to sand. These areas up here where there's a lot of air you're turning, I'll use the negative rake scraper to get those cleaned up, and then I think we're ready to sand. Okay, I'll be sanding with my 2-inch disc, and we'll be sanding in reverse around 400 RPM, and I'll sand probably up to 400, and maybe we'll get some sanding sealer on. I have it sanded to 400 now, ready to put the sanding sealer on. In a recent video, somebody asked me what that box was that I put my 2-inch sanding disc. I think I had it sitting on a stool. Well, that's the box. It's just called a large organizer, and there's a lot of compartments in there, and I use these for fishing gear. This was an extra one, so I thought I would try it out. Okay, I'll be using Zinzer Sealcoat. It's a shellac based. I'll put it on with this little rag. Now we get to see what it looks like. And yeah, I thought it was pretty nice. I'll put a couple coats of this on, and then I'll use shellac on it for the final finish. If you're wondering, I'm not filling any of those holes. Also, in a recent video, I had a lot of really good advice on how to fill the wormholes in the cherry bowl that I had. The thing with that is a gift for somebody that I know, if they knew there had been a bug in there, they probably wouldn't have wanted the bowl. That was the main reason to cut it off, because I like the bug holes and some cracks, and like this is really cool here. Okay, I'll get another coat of sealer on it, and when I come back it'll be time to have it flipped around and turn the inside. I've got it flipped around now, and I would like to leave a lot of this, but the trouble is it would be a real small opening. So I'll just start cutting this away and try to leave something on it. Start with a 5/8 bowl gouge, and we're turning about 650 RPM. I think I'll concentrate on establishing the shape for this little feature here before I go any deeper, because I really like that a lot. If I can get a little more RPM. Yeah, 720. Put a little black mark right here. I want to take that off. This is the only area that I'll be cutting while doing that. So it's somewhat tricky because you've really got to hold still. But let's see if we can go ahead and do that. I used the heel of the gouge here to find a piece and then make sure I got to the outside before starting the cut. I think we got it off, and I just have to clean it up down to here, and you notice that this wall is getting down to a size that I can accept and not be too bulky. Both of those. So that's about, I think, the best I can do with this. I'm going to switch back to my 1/2 inch and see if we can clean that up. I think I've cut as much as I want to on the back side of this, because this dips in and I don't want to cut a hole into there. I think I'm getting pretty close right there. So I'm going to go ahead and hollow the bowl out, and I'll use my freshly sharpened 5/8 bowl gouge, and I think we're turning about 750 RPM. Was that for a cute little worm I just turned? You see, I ran into a little knot there that I didn't have, so it's making it a little harder to cut. I'm going to go over this with the negative rake scraper, especially these areas that stick up where I was cutting a lot of air. And I'll make really light cuts there, and then I'll go ahead and get the rest of it. This apple was cutting like butter until I hit those knots, but that's just part of what the wood is. Time to sand the inside, and it'll be similar to the outside, whereas I'm using a 2-inch disc starting at 80 grit and working my way through 400 This time I'll have the lathe running forward at about 400 RPM. I'll add another step to it. I want to get the bark cleaned up. So I'll use this Sandiflex, and I think that's 120 grit. I'll go over it like this. That's going to take a little while. I have the smaller Sandiflex, and I don't think it works as good. So I'll go ahead and show you how I sand the inside, and we'll come back and get some sanding sealer on the inside. This will be the first of a couple coats of the sanding sealer, and I'll brush it on the bark here. Yeah, that looks nice. So that'll look like that, and then I'll wipe it on the inside like this. The inside was really hard to sand. There's some areas right around where there's a knot here that just was hard to clean up, but I think it'll look okay. Alright, I'll get a couple coats on the inside, get some on the bark, and we'll be back, and we'll have to turn the tenon off. So I'll see you then. Okay, I just need to remove that tenon and we'll be all through. And I do notice there's a crack in it, but I don't think it goes all the way to the middle. Let's get it against that block here. See how that runs? That's probably okay. Okay, I'll start out with a 1/2 inch bowl gouge. That's 600 RPM. I'm going to switch to this little spindle gouge I have here and cut that nub a little bit smaller. Turn the RPM down. Make sure there's no cracks in it. This bowl is very heavy. I'm a little concerned about cutting the nub off while it spins, but it shouldn't be a problem. And it wasn't. Okay, that's a Phil Anderson trick there. And sometimes I chicken out, but because this is so heavy, I was about ready to. But success. I'll get that sanded up and signed, and we will be finished. This was a lot of fun to do. I really enjoyed it. And I think it looks pretty good. It finished 9 inches in diameter. It's 5 inches at the tallest point, and the base is 4.5 inches. And all I can tell you about the walls is they're very thick. And the reason is, this is that growth I was trying to keep. And it tucks in right here. And turning the inside, I'm within 3/16, almost got to the bark. I didn't want to take any more, and I'm happy with the walls just the way they are. I used Zinzer Sealcoat, 3 coats, and Zinzer Shellac, 2 coats of that. I went over it with the gray Scotch-Brite and the white Scotch-Brite, and I think it made for a really nice finish. And you can see there's lots going on here. Lots of knots, cracks, voids. Looks pretty cool. Got a big void right there, and that looks just fine. I didn't fill anything. I think it's just beautiful colors in this. I think they look great. I really like how they blend up to the bark, which, speaking of the bark, that is really nice. It's the nicest bark I've seen on apple. So, when I brought this in the house, the first thing I heard was, oh wow. So apparently it looks okay. Let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to let me know if you liked the video. A thumbs up would be great, but I also love reading your comments, and I will do my best to answer them all. A special thanks to all my subscribers, and if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. I do all types of turnings, and feel free to let me know what you'd like to see. Thanks again, and until the next time, see you later.